Hello, girls, guys, or otherwise. This is Rich with our Table Talk Thursday. As per usual, I have our Table Topics Cube. If you would like to get a Table Topics Cube similar to this one, you can hit up the link down below. Before we get too far into this, I do want to say thank you to our patrons on Patreon. Thank you, Linda and Sophia, for being patrons on Patreon. If you would like to support the Christo-Pagan church that we're starting here on YouTube, you can do that by hitting up the Patreon link down below for as little as $5 per month. If you would like to get something tangible for your money, you can hit up the eBay link that does support me, supports the channel, and supports keeping the lights on and food on the table and whatnot. Just ask about discounts and whatnot because I give them out quite often. If you do not have the finances to support this channel but would still like to support this channel, you can hit up the subscription link or the subscription button right there. Hit that bell notification, hit that like or dislike button. Doesn't matter to me. It all appeases the algorithmic gods of YouTube. All hail the algorithmic gods of YouTube. And if you have done that and it is safe for you to do so, consider sharing this on your social media platforms and leave a comment letting me know your answer to this question. What is it? How virtuous are you on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being complete adherence to your moral code at all times? Wow. That is, I'm not good at doing the 1 to 10 scales of anything. Complete adherence to my moral code. I'd have to say I'm probably around a 7. And I think whenever you are putting yourself, whenever you're judging yourself, we judge ourselves more harshly than others will judge us with how we react to certain things or whatnot. Um, I could probably find people that would say, "Oh no, you keep to your moral code very well," and I'll be like, "Well, there's this time and that time, and we'll pick those things apart." And I think there's similarity with many individuals out there where we will uh, react differently or have different answers because if we are honest with ourselves, because of what we see, think, and feel outside of everybody else's perspectives. There are certainly times whenever uh, I have issues speaking up for myself or being a confident individual where I will call people out on their BS. And there are times whenever I'm like, you know what, all bets out the window, not going to hold back on this. Um, One thing that happened the other day whenever I was at work, as a matter of fact, yesterday, that I'm recording this on Sunday the 19th. So this happened yesterday at work. There was an 80-year-old lady that was getting a storage unit. And, she said as she was walking out, she hates our current administration, doesn't trust the government, blah, 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 that we have open borders, all this stuff. I'm like, and I looked at her, I'm like, for one, you're a really sweet old lady, but you're terribly misguided. Uh, I didn't say that to her. I said, well, we don't have open borders. We never have. It's not like people are flooding in, and that's that. We have a policy of when somebody comes to the country that they should gain citizenship. And most of the people that come over, they come over on visas that end up expiring, all that stuff. I'm like, we don't have open borders, nor have we had open borders where just anybody could waltz in for the most part. I mean, if you want to go back to the, what, 1800s, then yes, we can say that we had more open borders, but it was also less defined as what our foreign policy is and how we interacted on the world stage. So yeah, she continued with, "Oh, the previous administration, they didn't let anybody in that was foreigner," and I'm like, "Well, that's not true. They kind of just put them in concentration camps, basically, and that's not good either." And I didn't want to offend this lady entirely. I wanted to okay, I say I don't want to offend this lady entirely, but some of it, it's like I think you're being told the wrong information or you're trusting the wrong resources, and therefore you don't realize what you're saying is, for one, kind of racist, actually definitely racist, um, and also you're not being given proper information. um, I didn't want to say this because of the interaction, the environment that we were in. Uh, I didn't want to get into a full blown argument, which I knew it would have gone into the way that she presented herself, with what she was saying, and the way that I know how things can get out of control in the within talking to people who are opposed to a, you know the current administration. Anyway, um, so yeah, I just tried to lay it out to her, like, okay, no, we don't have this thing that you think we have, and no, the previous administration didn't do something that was better. They did something that could technically kind of be considered a war crime. Um, depending on the level or the scale that you want to take that to, could be to some considered a war crime. So yeah, not a good thing. And not, I also didn't want to sit there and tell her that her views were openly and blatantly racist, the way she was talking about, people coming from the southern border. It's like, no, your views are racist. And that's what that party fuels on, is the racism and, the blatant hypocrisy that they have themselves. So yeah, there's certain things I didn't want to say to her, especially since my coworker was also there, and knowing how she can get into, um, the way that she gets whenever it comes to politics and whatnot. And I stuck to my guns pretty close, and I basically left it, well, as well, I disagree with you. I think that you're incorrect with your assessment. And I just got back to work. Um, you know, and that's kind of where she left it. If she wanted to have a more intellectual conversation and go point by point on stuff, then that would be one thing. But I knew in the situation that we were in and how everything was being said, would not have given an open, the openness to a good conversation about what was about to, or about what we were talking about. So, and also with my coworker being there, who is technically capable of firing me, probably not the best thing. Whenever she left, my coworker turned to me. She says, don't oh, how did she say? Don't argue with an 80-year-old woman. I said I wasn't arguing. I think I presented myself very very well, and um, I left it at that, and she kind of did too. So this is the person who I've gotten into full on arguments with about how offensive it is that, there were racist things said in my presence, not only in my presence, but how she would not have stuck up for me if there was somebody that was homophobic in the office as well. So yeah, this is a person that I've gotten into discussions with that about. And yeah, I think she heard what I was saying, possibly, um, and she knows better than to push all my buttons on that. In fact, I would, as of right now, I have decided that, the next time that something like that comes up, I'm going to start logging this, and probably eventually tell HR if it needs to come to that, because it is starting to have a hostile work environment. Um, would I say that I was completely adherent to my moral code as a 10 out of 10? No. I would say that I assessed the situation and saw the pros and cons of what could or could not have happened in that arena, and I made the decision that would best serve me at that point in time. Now, if the person wanted to have a deeper or a more meaningful conversation, they could certainly come in whenever it was just me and her, and we could discuss this a little bit further. But I wasn't going to have a conversation that has a lot of nuance in the span of about 3 minutes, and have her going away with a partial thought, and have her just she would have ended up just shutting down and saying, well, you don't know what you're talking about, and leave. That's what it would have come down to. If she were more genuine about wanting to know opposing views, she would come in whenever it was me and her, and we would have an open and honest discussion. I don't necessarily see this happening with her. She was a little bit more prickly once she started saying that, so I don't think she's really receptive to those things. Yeah. So maybe I planted a seed, maybe I didn't, and I don't know. I'm not sure exactly how else I should have handled that. Um, but yeah, I would not say that I stuck to a strict adherence of a moral code of righting wrongs in everyday life, but also there is something to be said for feeling the room. And I don't know. I would say maybe I'm a 7, but again, I would I would probably judge myself more harshly than what others would. But that's my little story of the week and the crazy work situations that I have. What's your answer to this question? How virtuous on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being complete adherence to your moral code at all times? What's your answer on that one? Yeah, I don't. I maybe we should make this a little bit more interesting. In the comments down below, not only say what you would say your rating would be, but say what you think my rating should be, or give an example of something that you do, or something of that nature. Let's get a conversation started here and talk about you know the virtuous scale of 1 to 10, and see where we all balance out on there. So anyway, yeah, that's a tough one. That's all that I have for this week. Until next time, which is our Witchy Wednesday. Catch me on Witchy Wednesday. I am doing these videos ahead of time because I'm going down to Kansas. So yeah, you're going to see me in the same shirt for the next couple videos. Anyway, join me on Wednesday for Witchy Wednesday, and until next time, may you have love, hugs, and ladybugs. Bye.